Good morning, everyone. I'm going to be cooking a fish courgouillon today. I'm going to start off with melting my butter. I'm going to set the heat at about number 6. Need about 10 ounces. So I'll put for now 2 sticks, excuse me. To save a little time, you can see I cut up all my bell peppers, my celery, my onion. That's 1 full bell pepper, but I like to add color, so I cut 4/4 out of the color ones. I have 1 large onion and 2 sticks of celery that I'll add once I make my small roux. I'm going to make a small roux to color, just to bring out the thickness and a little brownish tint to it. These are the other ingredients that I'll be adding. I like to use chicken stock instead of water. I find that seafood just messes with the fish flavor and the flavor of the sauce, so I don't add that. I also use 1 can of whole and 1 can of diced tomatoes, and seasoning to taste. So put that out the way. Let this melt for a second. I'll turn it up to about 8. Get my utensil. I like to use a wooden one. It don't mess up my coating on my metal pot. Alright, I got a little bit of flour. It really calls for about 2 teaspoons of roux, or tablespoons of roux. So I'm just going to add a little bit of flour to thicken it so it'll start browning on me once I get to the heat. And I'll add a little bit more if it calls for it or needs it. Put that out the way. I am making a large batch. I got about 4 pounds. This is not catfish. I use Alaskan cod. The catfish over here lately is hard to come by, and it's quite expensive for the catfish. You don't get a large catfish, you get small fillets, and I like my chunks to be pretty meaty when they cook down. It serves everyone better. Okay, I'm going to add the rest of this flour since it's such a large batch. Now I'm going to turn my heat up to high. And it takes a little while to make a darker roux. So I'll probably edit it and cut out some of the waiting time that we'll have. It's starting to get hot now, so let's see how it goes. Some people like to saute their vegetables in the in the butter, and then add the roux separately. For time's sake, I went ahead and I'm making the roux now. That way it'll be here, and then I'll just add the onions and saute it in the roux, and then cook down the celery and bell peppers right behind that. Okay, we'll let it set for a minute. Be opening my cans. I would be embarrassed by y'all seeing my drawer, but I'm sure everyone in America has a drawer like that. So, I don't have the kitchen set up where everything hangs up above and serves me as I need it. There we go, starting to brown, looking pretty. And notice that I have it very liquidy because you don't tend to have to watch it as much. Even though your flour will settle and brown, it gives you a little bit more leeway to move around and prepare other things as you're doing it. So, yeah, it's coming out pretty right now. Can't open. Alright, we should be almost there. Yeah. Alright. So now I'm going to add my onions. And I'm going to turn that fire down just a little bit to about 7. I would turn the fan on, but it's going to make too much noise and disrupt my talking to tell you what I do. Yeah, that's thickened up real good. Alright, let's get the celery in there. I'm not much of a celery person, but being that I'm cooking it for you guys to follow, you can add it, you can take it out. You don't have to have it. It's been a long time since I've eaten celery, but, and here we go. That's my colors for my bell pepper. That's one full large bell pepper. Alright, now we're going to let this simmer for about 10 minutes as we stir it. So again, I'll probably time lapse it by editing. Or I might leave it play because I have some other channels that I'm developing right now and I need the time. You know how they are, you gotta have a lot of hours before they even let you start doing quality things that you want. So a lot of people use name brands on their sauce and stuff, but I like supporting my local marketer, and we're using cans from a local store. We're going to add this chicken stock in a minute, once we saute it a little bit. one thing I have to get out of my pantry that I forgot to get. Rotel. It'll never be good enough if you don't add Rotel. And you can get different types of Rotel. You can get the original, which is what I got. You can get the mild. You can get with chili pepper. You can get with hot. I use the original because members of my family don't like a lot of heat. And they're not originally from Louisiana, so we in Louisiana like our food hot. Okay. Now, I think that's pretty good. Let's go ahead and add our stock so our roux can kind of blend in. Finish this off. Now once I get all of this together, now I'm going to go ahead and add my tomato sauce. And I have my diced tomatoes. Rotel. And my second rotel. Okay. Now we're going to stir this up, blend it in real good. Okay, now we're going to bring it to high heat where it can cook down and boil a little bit. Now, I love spice. This spice I get from my local marketer. It has a lot of heat to it, Cajun heat, not Texas heat. It's more Cajun heat. Then I have a seasonal made by Martin Salt. I'm going to add a little bit of that. And believe me, I'll add more to it later once it cooks and stirs down. And then I'll even add more, just a little bit of salt. I'll even add more to it once you put the fish, because the fish is going to drink up a lot of the spice, the salt. So it's going to take a little bit extra seasoning to get it like we like it here in Louisiana. But when you're doing it, season it to your liking. And never put all your seasoning at the beginning, because you could overpower it, and then too much in could never be enough taken out. Okay? So we're going to probably time lapse this as well, and we're going to let this cook down for about an hour, and I'll add water as it cooks down and evaporates for that hour, and then I'll be right back to y'all at the end of that hour. Okay. During that time, I'm going to clean up. Okay guys, it's been cooking for right at 1 hour. And you can see how pretty the colors come in. The vegetables have broken down somewhat. And the flavor is delicious. One thing I did forget to tell you guys about is anytime that I'm using canned vegetables, tomatoes, or even fresh tomatoes, I always put about 2 large pinches of sugar in it, and I did that while we were offline to break out the acid and not have acid as bad for all the people that suffer with acid reflux. I've also added 2 glasses of water, not at the same time, but within about 20 minutes apart while it cooks down. I'm going to add a little bit more. Okay, and then stir that in. It's a little thin, but I'm going to let it cook for a few more minutes, and I'm going to add my fish. So, like I said, I have right at 4 pounds of fish. And one thing you most definitely don't want to do once you add your fish is stir it vigorously or too hard too often. You most definitely want it to let it cook itself. Once it cooks down a little bit, this larger fish usually tends to tighten up and hold itself together. Unlike if you're using small fillets on catfish or something, then they kind of break up. Before you know it, you don't know where any of your fish is. You just have a lot of ground up particles in your sauce. So we're going to let this cook for about 10 minutes. It'll come to a ball again, and I'll stir it slowly. And then after that, guys, it should be almost cooked. I also added probably another tablespoon of salt, because my sauce is so large. It needed just enough to help bring all the married flavors out. If you don't put enough salt, sometimes your food will be bland. You won't taste the tomato flavor or the roux blended flavor, and most definitely it'll hide the total flavor of the fish. So once you get it to a good saltiness, not salted, but saltiness, you will have what we call fish courgette. You can't beat that flavor once you eat this fish courgette. So, like I said, when you want to stir it, you just want to gently move things around. I like to keep everything from breaking apart. In the words of old Justin Wilson, and for those of you who don't know him, look him up. Oh, my shot is going to be good, yeah. I also want to give a shout out to my guys. So it's been cooking probably for about, I'll let it cook a little longer than 10 minutes. I think I've been at it for another 30 minutes. But the fish is still together. It's a little dehydrated, but that's going to occur with any seafood that you cook. So now this thing is ready. I want to take a shout out to my nephew, BJ, Brad James Franks, and his fiance, which is gonna be my niece, Stacy. I hope y'all enjoy the sauce piquant. If you cook it that way, I think you really will. And to the rest of you guys, y'all enjoy. I'll have one more turn on once I do the rice, and I'll fix a bowl. I'll shoot that shot, and then the video will be finished. Bon appetit. Y'all enjoy. All right, I have my rice. I'm going to put my fish on it. I'm going to take my sauce. Sauce piquant sauce. You can make it a little thicker. Mine's a little liquidy. I should have cooked it down a little bit more before I added the fish, but wanted to get this done for you guys today. So, here we go. Man, the flavors are all kicking, I'm telling you. All the vegetables blended in, the spices, the tomatoes, the fish flavor, everything's just popping. And, well guys, I'm going to turn off the camera and sit down and finish this. If it was Justin Wilson, he'd have a glass of wine. He'd let y'all watch him eat, but I'm going to eat without y'all watching me, and I will have my glass of wine.